Alright guys, today we will learn how we can track the location of a user in our Android app. So let's just jump right into it. So let me take you through the steps first. So first of all, we will need to include this dependency in our Android app, and once we have that, we will need to create a service where we can get the location. So in this service, we will do all the location related stuff so that we can track the location even when the user is doing something else. And then we need to initialize this FusedLocationProvider, and after we have initialized this, we need to initialize a location callback. So what this location callback does is whenever there is a location update, we will receive that location update in our callback. Okay, and once everything is ready, we will finally request the location. Alright, and this is the first part. These are the steps in the first part of the tutorial. So this is where we can request the location and we get the location updates. Now once we have received the location update, later on we will learn how we can create a broadcast receiver so that we can send those location updates to our activity, and in our activity we can do anything we want with those location coordinates. And then we will see how we can send the broadcast to activity, and finally we will receive the broadcast and perform necessary actions in that, and then we will enjoy of course. Alright, so let's jump into the code. So let's first copy this dependency so that we can include this in our app. Okay, now let's just add it here and we can sync our project. Oh, it's 7:02 a.m. in the morning. I have not woken up, I have not slept, so I'll sleep after I'm done with this. Alright, the sync is complete, so now we can start with our second step. So what is the second step? Second step is to create a service. Alright, so we go to our location tracker, we create a new Java class, and let's call it location service, and this extends service, of course. And you will get this error, so just press Alt Enter and implement the necessary methods, that is on bind. Alright, and now you can press Ctrl and O to override method, and that method that we will override is onCreate. And inside onCreate, so the basic layout of our framework is done. So, and what was the third step? Third step is to initialize FusedLocationProvider client. So let's do that. Let's create FUSED location provider client. Right, here it is. Now let's initialize it. This is it, pretty simple, right? And now what was our third step? The third step is to, my bad, what was our fourth step? Fourth step is to initialize a location callback whereby where we can get the location updates. Alright, so let's initialize it. Now this is the actual initialization part. New location callback, and this is it. Now just press Ctrl O and we will override on location results. So whenever there is a location change, this method is where we will get into. So here we can get the latitude and longitude from the location result, and this is the location result. So for example, let's log the result. Alright, so we'll do lat is dot get latitude plus longitude is this is it. So now whenever we'll get a location update, it should show log that latitude is this and longitude is this. Alright, so now if we move on to our steps, we have done this, so 4 of our steps are complete. Now we just need to request location. Alright, now let's proceed to requesting location. Let's create a request location methods first, so that whenever we call that method, the location is requested. So let's write private void request location. So for requesting location, you need to initialize location request object. So let's just call it location request is new location request. Now in this location request object, there are a lot of things that we can add, like set number of updates and how many updates we should receive, and set in an interval, and this set interval is like the duration. How do I put it? This is the interval after which we receive location updates. So if we set it to, like, let's say 10,000, so we will receive location updates in the interval of 10 seconds. So here it's 10,000 seconds, that is equals to 10 milliseconds. So let's set our interval to 10, let's set it to 5 seconds, so that we don't have to wait for long. And also let's set accuracy, set power consumption, I think. Nope, it's set priority itself, and in priority we can add location request dot what is the priority, like low power, high accuracy, balanced power accuracy. For the sake of this tutorial, let's just add this one, balanced power accuracy. Alright, so this is it. Now finally we have our location request object ready too. So using this FusedLocationProvider client, we can request location updates. And as you can see the parameters here, the first parameter is location request, and the second parameter is pending intent. But we are going to use this first one. We are going to use location request, location callback, and looper. Alright, so this is our location request. We also have our callback ready, and for looper we can do looper.myLooper. Alright, this is it. It's pretty simple. So whenever you call this method request location, this FusedLocationProvider client gets to work and starts sending you location updates every 5 seconds, and you receive those location updates in here. Alright, now I just forgot a major step, and that's why this thing is coming, red line. So this is here because I think you guys know by now, in Android version 6, that is Marshmallow or higher, you need to request specific location, you need to request specific permissions. Like if you are using camera, you need to ask for camera permission. If you are using GPS, you need to ask for GPS permissions individually inside the app. So we forgot to do that, so that's why it's showing missing permissions required error. We will do that after we finish the rest. Alright, so let's proceed with this. Okay, so now we just need to request location. So where do we request the location? Once everything is created, whenever the service is started, let's request the location there. So how do you know where the service is started? So for that we have a method called on service, sorry, not on service, on start command. Alright, so here is the method, and before returning we just call request location method. Beautiful. Alright, this is done, the service is ready. So it's not much, it's a few lines of code, and the library does the rest for you. Alright, so now we can do this permissions part. So let's create a new activity and call it whatever you want to call it. I'll just call it main activity, and it should extend the good old app compare activity, and let's override on create. Now for the sake of this tutorial, we don't need any views, because if you need to show the location in a map, or if you need to have a button or show coordinates, or whatever you want to do with the UI, you will need an XML part too. So but for this tutorial we don't need anything that the user has to see, because we're just getting location and you can do whatever you want with it in your app. But in this tutorial there is no UI, so we don't need anything in the XML part, in this resources folder. So alright, now in this thing we can just start the service. But what we will do is we will first check if location permission is provided or not. So first we check if the build version is actually greater than Marshmallow or not. So for Marshmallow the SDK int is 23. So we check if it is greater than or equal to 23. If so, we request for permissions. Else, what do? Else we start the service, start the location service. Alright, pretty simple. Now to request the location, it's pretty so to check the location we do check self permission, and here you add string permission. What is the string permission? You go manifest dot permissions dot access find location dot now this returns the permission that we have. We just need to check if the permission is given or not. So we just check if this is equal to package manager dot permission granted. So it's double equals to here. Now if the permission is granted, we can request location again. Else we ask the user for permission. So here we can request location permission. Alright, so first let's create a method to request location. Let's call it this is not requesting the location, it's actually starting the service. So let's call it void start service, and here we have to initialize an intent. And let's just start this service. Okay, now in this part let's call this method, and let's just do the same here. Now let's do this part, requesting the location. How do you do that? maybe it was request permissions. Yep, there it is. Now the first parameter is, as you can see, it's an array. It's not just a string, it's a string array. So we do new string, and here we can just add one string object, that is access file location, and let's say a request code of 1. Now this is the request code. Now why is it showing error? Okay, so it requires a string. You can just add it in quotes. Not the error. What is the problem? Oh, you add it here. Okay, so this is the request permissions. Now this will show user a dialog box like, do you want to grant this permission or not? And if the user presses, and then later on we can, start the location service. So how to check if the user has pressed yes or not? So just press Control O, and you can override on request permission result, and here you can check if the permission was granted or not. So what we do is we switch for the request code. The request code is this thing, the one that we had sent by right here, so that we know this request is for location. And if it is 1, what we do is we check if the permission is granted or not. So where do we have it? We have it here. We check if the grant results equals to we check if the GPS location if we check if the GPS permission is given or not. Now if it is granted, we start the service, else we let's just show a toast. And write, give me permissions. Alright, and length long. There you go. So this is it. It's practically and literally this is it. It's pretty simple, right? One more thing is very important. Let's just define our activity and our services. So our activity is main activity, and this is our launcher activity 2. And let's define our service 2. And our permissions here also. Do not just skip the video for now. There's one important thing remaining. Just one moment, let me get to it. Okay, this thing, and we also need one more permission, and that is of the internet, because this depends on Google Play services. So first time whenever your app is initializing, you need to have I think it needs to connect to Google services, and after that you can get the location without having internet access, just by GPS. But for first users, you need to have access to the internet. Alright, so let's just run this. Yes, I think everything is done. Let's just run this. Yep, I own a Mi9. That's my phone. It's the first build, so it's taking a lot of time. Yeah. Meanwhile, let's just talk about what we have done. So first of all, we just did this. We added this implementation, this is the dependency, and then we created a service so that we can get our location in background, and then we initialized a FusedLocationProvider client, and then we made a callback where we can receive our location updates, and finally we requested the location. Okay, so this is it, and while I was talking, the app opened and crashed. So let's check what the problem is. The problem is, oh my god, where is it? The problem is, alright, so let's just run this again and crashes again. What seems to be the problem? Okay. Client must have this permission to perform location updates. Yes, I know that, and that's why I think we did this thing here, checking if permission is there or not. So we are checking if it's greater than 23, or we are checking if there is. Oh, what is this thing wrong here? It's a pretty stupid mistake here. We have checked here, if the permission is granted, then we are asking for permission, else we are not asking for permission, just starting the service. So if the permission is not granted, then ask for permissions, otherwise just start the service. So let's rerun this. And how we can check this, you are not able to see my phone, but we can check the log. I'll let you know when it updates. Okay, it is installing. Okay, so now it's asking me for location. I have granted allow. Yes, see, immediately after hitting allow, I get this, and I'm getting these updates in 5 seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there you go. Alright, this is it. So as you have seen, this is pretty simple, and in the next tutorial what we'll do is, see, we only have the location here for the moment. We don't have the location in here. So what happens is, this is a service. So let's say you need to send it to a server, you need to send this location updates to a server, or you need to plot this in a map, or you need to point this in a map, in a marker. All those things we need to send this from here to your activity. So how that can be done is, one of the methods is through broadcasts, and we will cover that in the next tutorial. Till then, peace out. If you have any comment, just hit them, just write them in the comment section below, and if this has helped you, please hit the like and do subscribe for future videos too. Alright, happy coding.